Hey guys, welcome to this week's Dots and Dashes podcast. I'm Lynn Kingsley.
And I'm Prakash Shah. Hello everyone, welcome. And Lynn, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm very good too, thank you. And today, Lynn, you have got a special topic to talk about. Over to you.
Okay. Well, I was thinking with the passing of Pope Francis and the shenanigans that have been going on with some of those so-called mourners as he lies in state, taking selfies as they filter past his coffin and shuffling around to get my best side, and in my book is totally abhorrent, disrespectful, and just shows the mentality of these people. All because they want to show off to their friends. They clearly didn't go out there out of respect. They just went to grab their couple of minutes of fame, I think, anyway. And I find their look-at-me attitude totally sickening. What about you?
I agree with you totally. Taking selfies so unnecessarily. I mean, a couple of days ago, they were stopped taking selfies when they're passing by the coffin. And I think this totally, I agree, totally disrespectful. You find people are taking selfies everywhere unnecessarily. Especially you get these people on things like TV celebrity programs where they have all done up and they want to just take selfies everywhere. And that sort of culture, I think, is taking over, isn't it? Do you think so?
Yes, it is. But I tell you what, if anyone does that to me, I'm going to come back and haunt them. And on that vein, what's your take on life after death?
That's a serious question. I have to think hard about it because in Hinduism, we talk a lot about reincarnation. And there's a talk that people, you come back as something else in your afterlife, depending on how good you've done in your present life. I don't know how true that is or not, but I don't know whether that applies to any other religion or not. But you can tell
I
me if
don't
you
know.
know. It's interesting because I haven't actually read about it, but I've just heard certain stories and myths that people come back in a different form, like probably another animal or something like that. So I suppose some belief that's been brought into our Hinduism culture that has been passed down generations, and you start believing it, whether it's true or not, who knows. But I do believe that there is something like this. We all have a soul that is there, and something happens to us when we pass. Because people talk about they've almost died, but they come back and they've experienced something. Have you heard of those stories?
I didn't quite catch that.
When somebody's passed for a couple of minutes, somebody thinks they've died for a couple of minutes, but then they come back alive suddenly, and they think they went an
Oh,
afterlife experience. Have you heard stories about that? I'm sure there's lots of stories about that.
yes. Yes, I have. Yeah.
That'd be an interesting, deep topic to look into, but I haven't got much knowledge personally about that, apart from what I've just said. So,
Yes.
what do
Yeah.
you think? Do you think there is afterlife?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah, very much. A young member of our family was killed. And after that, we wanted to know why. And anyway, I found a spiritual church. I'm not into church at all. I'm not religious. And I was very skeptical. But anyway, I rang them up and I said, could just anybody come in? And they said yes. So we left it a couple of weeks. And then eventually we decided we'd go and give it a try. And there was a medium on, and he talked about this young guy, and it fitted, and very carefully said yes. We knew who he was talking about. He said there was just so much emotion. We'll hang around and wait after the session has finished. We said yes and sat there thinking, is this real? And is he just picking on us because we're new here? But as it turns out, he was from away, and he didn't know we were new there. And he did come up to us in the end. He walked us through the accident, told us exactly how it happened. And everything he said was so spot on that you just could not believe him, And so we got into it quite a bit then. In the end, I started helping other people out. We took a course on mediumship. And I've done several readings in my time.
Interesting. That is
And
so interesting.
so far, every one of them has been, positive.
So
Yeah.
you can,
So yes,
sort of talking to me, can you tell anything about me?
I could, but not right now because we're just talking normally.
Yeah.
What you have to do is you have to boost your energy a bit and then just simply blend. But you need a few minutes silence. Well, I do anyway. Just sit in silence first. And then I'll say, okay, yes, I've got this person here. And I just asked for anybody that knows that person to come forward and talk if they wish to. And I know one person in particular that always sticks in my mind, because she'd come to me and I just had a feeling about her. And I started off and I said, I've got this lady here and she's telling me it's your mother. And so she said, I don't want to speak to her. And I thought, wow, that sort of took me by surprise. And she was so anti the whole time. And I said to her, she's telling me blue. And so she said, she hated blue. So I said, right, okay. And so she said, I said, well, I'm sorry, but she's still saying blue. And I was getting blue, blue, blue. She said, oh, no, just tell her I don't want to speak to her. I don't want to speak to her at all. And then she said, what colour blue? I said, nothing. And I stuck to my guns on it because I knew I was right. This blue meant something. And anyway, she just was so negative. And I said, I'm really sorry. I cannot get past your energy. You're putting up blocks and I can't get any further. So she was a bit disgruntled. And off she went. But about 3 or 4 days later, I had a phone call and it was her. And I thought, not again, as you do. And she said, I've rung up to apologise. So I said, OK, don't worry about it. It's just one of those things. We just didn't blend. She said, no, that was me. Everything I do, I tape. That way, nobody can say I said something that I didn't. But also, they can listen back to it afterwards and maybe pick up things that they didn't quite get to during the session. And so she said, well, I was listening to the tape and my husband come in and he said that she was being negative. And she said, I do know about Blue. That was a dog we had. And that was the name of the dog, Blue. So it was not a colour or anything, but she didn't think that far ahead.
It's really nice talent too. If you can read people, that is some talent.
It comes in very handy.
Yeah, and it takes time to develop such a talent, doesn't it? Really, it doesn't come overnight. You have to practice it.
Not really, no.
No?
No. It's something that you tend to... If you have a need for something, I think you can conquer it. Yeah, we had a need at that time. But in the meantime, I mean, afterwards, I've run circles and everything. I don't do them now, but I might start up another day.
It's nice to practice sort of things, I'm sure.
Mm.
Even if you don't do it for fun rather than as a business. That's amazing talent. Well done.
That's right. Yeah, but, you know, I mean, that's the reason that I believe, and we've had several other deaths as well. Not that we go anywhere near the church at all, but we will go to somebody and have a reading in the fairly near future because we've had another few that have gone.
Oh, dear.
So,
sorry about that.
Well, but it's life, isn't it? Amongst life is death, you know.
That is, and there's only two certainties. One certainty in life is death, apart from taxes.
That's right. Absolutely it is. Yeah, absolutely. But I think it also gives you some sort of feeling that you know they're there, if you see what I mean. You maybe not, but you just feel that they're around, you know, at various times, not all the time, just various times. Yeah.
That is
and
very interesting.
It's nice to recognise it.
Very interesting. If you have a talent like that to know what's happening in somebody's life without anybody, as a medium sort of thing. I don't know how you can do it, but you do it, which is so good for you.
Yeah. The trouble is, once you start doing it and you do it like as a business, because I mean, I used to have people come in. I had a hair and beauty salon and my daughter used to work in it and she did the hair, I did the skin, but also I used to help people with hair loss and skin complaints. So that was my speciality. And I used to have quite a few of those people that had got problems say that they liked coming there, not because I was fixing their problem, but because they felt safe. And that was a really strange thing. But I had more than one person say that.
And you were listening to them and helping them in a way.
Yes, yeah.
When you do this sort of readings or whatever you call them as a medium, you see you've got to build your energy levels up. Afterwards, do you feel your energy levels have dropped and drained?
Not always, no. I mean, times it can be a really funny reading. You get comedians, you know, both the people you're talking to and the people that are trying to connect. And sometimes it's just quite a laugh. But there have been times when I've felt drained, but it hasn't been because I haven't been able to connect with anyone in spirit, but it's because the person has been really negative and they drain you that you're
Like
working
the
on.
other lady.
Yeah, that can be really draining.
Yeah. Okay.
Just grab a coffee,
Yeah,
shrug your
time for
shoulders,
coffee,
get
I
on
think.
with it, and it's fine. But yeah, but that's why I believe that there is life after death. Obviously not in the body form, but
Yeah,
still
that's
around.
true.
Yeah. What about you? Have you ever been to anything like that?
No, I have not actually done anything like that. When I was at university, we did a Ouija board once. Remember
Oh
those
yeah.
Ouija boards? I don't know how that works, probably. I don't know whether people still do those at all. I'm sure they probably do, I suppose, in certain places. But
Yeah.
I never thought it worked for me anyway.
No, don't be negative. You never know. You'll
Uh,
be absolutely surprised.
okay, could try
But that's
those,
sort
yeah.
of the fun side. I'll tell you a funny story. When I was a teenager, long before I did any of this sort of thing, I'd gone round to a boyfriend's and there were some family members there and they were just starting to sit round a table. And so he said, "What you doing? Trying to get the dead again?" And I'm thinking, oh my God, what have I walked into, right? And I was a bit dubious about the whole thing. And anyway, but they were doing it, all touch hands, and there was all this, is there anybody there? And that all that sort of rubbish. And so anyway, we were sitting there and he was just saying, is there anybody there? Knock 3 times. And there was a knock, knock, knock. And I went, oh my God, I'm thinking. And she said, one more time, just as knock 3 times. And there was a knock, knock, knock. And then there was this loud laugh. And it was my boyfriend's father had come home and he was stood outside the door and he heard his wife saying, is there anybody there? Knock 3 times. So he was knocking on the wood outside. We all fell about laughing. That was hilarious.
Brilliant.
But that's as close as I got to having one of those type of sort of seances. I usually only work on a one-to-one basis.
It's a good one, that. Like a few of the coming. Right.
But,
Shall we call it a day on that note?
yeah, sure.
That was a good one. I enjoyed that. It's a good talent to have as being a medium. I think maybe you should try that on one of these live
Yeah, maybe I
seminars.
should.
Worthwhile to see what people are doing, actually, I think.
That would be fun.
But, okay then, Lynn. Enjoyed that.
Okay.
So it's bye from me for today.
All right, and it's bye from me too. See you on the other side.
See you later.
Bye.